with other like that. So just kind of looking at that. I've been in a business about 5.5 years.
Okay.
So started baking from home and then was able to get into a commissary kitchen. So I know how hard it is.
Okay.
But just kind of looking for somewhere else as well. And working out of a commissary kitchen, kind of like what Carla's gone through, you know, I could be an asset as well, knowing some of the ins and outs of what's there.
That would be great. That would be great. Thank you.
I'm Pastor John Ward. I'm owner of Heaven Sent Catering. I'm just excited about it because I would like to see this work. We started on something at another location and it's taken too long, as Mr. Summers said. I think this would be a perfect location for it. And I just think it's about time we get something together like this because it's needed in this community.
Yeah. And one of our things is I will never get in somebody's way in terms of them putting their plan together. So some things are taking too long, but it's because they're putting their plan together and they've got to be able to put their organization together the correct way.
Right.
So even though I'm impatient, I don't want people to get all messed up because we're trying to make them move faster than they need to. But, and again, I am absolutely totally convinced that the community can use, the region can use several commercial kitchens that are designed for the specific needs of the businesses that are right here. Okay. You are?
Hi, I'm LaShonda Stewart. Hi, Ms. Carla.
Hi.
I own a LaShonda Soul Cafe, and yes, I'm in need of a kitchen too. But currently, I am working out of Alpha.
Wow.
Yeah, it's an hour away.
Wow.
Yeah. So I have to drive hour there, hour back. Yeah, it's needed. Everything she said. The same business, the same thing. It's I do have a business plan. But I really can't do anything with it until I am somewhere stable. You know, where I'll have to keep moving because it's like 1 year I'm one place, then that place stopped doing it, and I have to find someplace else and go somewhere. It just, yeah, it just an exhausting cycle.
I understand. Okay. Sure.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Joseph Luton, part of my seat. I'm the owner and co-founder of Important Joe's Ethiopian Coffee. My wife and I, we founded the company roughly about 1.5 years ago or so. We procure some of the finest quality coffees here in the, actually in the world. There's a general consensus that Ethiopian coffee is some of the finest. My personal interest that I have vested into being here at this meeting is to act as a liaison or a medium for, you know, other Black entrepreneurs and other Black people, individuals who are involved in the food and beverage industry, and to really, you know, help to carry the mission and the word out, you know, for this community center. There's a lot of, I think there's a huge issue in our community with information adequately distributed and dispersed. And so, you know, I kind of want to help with repairing the breach in that pipeline of information to get down into our community. So that's why I'm here.
Pastor Blake.
I'm Pastor Blake with the Ardmore LaSalle Church of Christ, and also founder of Project Impact, as well as founder. Yeah, that's 1906. No, close. And one of the things that James was talking about, the commercial kitchen, we're working with Charles Martin Youth Center, and they've got a kitchen there, and they're looking to, you know, remodel and do some things. But if we, and so that's when, Jim, did you already talk about the possibility of us doing here with that?
I haven't gone into any detail yet.
Oh, okay. But trying to collaborate with Charles Martin Youth Center and the kitchen that they're going to kind of remodel that and try to expand it a little bit. But if we coordinate with them and collaborate in some sort of way that they have a kitchen, and I hate to, I'm gonna wait and let you talk about here the collaboration that we have with Charles Martin. But so that's me trying. And let James go through that with.
I'm Carolyn Smith. Some of you in the room already know me. I'm the Director of Food Services for the St. Joseph County Department of Health. With the Health Department for in 2 months will be 6 years. And for 26 years, people have been looking for, asking for, begging for a shared kitchen. The person who used to be the director and I, laughed and joked about quitting the health department and going in, investing in that because there was such a need. I'm here at the table, hopefully to be a resource, hopefully to dispel Pastor Ward's rant that the government is not playing. The first time I met him, he was on the corner and his dukes were up. His dukes were up, but he expounded on love.
Loving.
Love it.
That's right.
So I'm here to be a resource, but I am also here to learn because a lot of what I've heard already, I didn't know what's out there, what's happening, what people are trying to do, what people have been doing. So that's why I'm there.
And I'm really, really happy that you're here because one, we need the expertise, but doing this the right way is I think what's the most critical thing. And then looking in terms of how we might be able to expand it and make it sustainable and actually benefit the entire region. Your expertise is going to be invaluable. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Kia Young. I am the branch manager at Community Bank, which is just downtown. For years, I have helped business owners open accounts, get loans, and all of those things, and have been wanting a desire to start a business. Probably a good 10 years now, and it's just happened. So my friend and I, we started a business like 2 days ago. So it's called Brown Sugar Bridals and Events. It's very multi-layered, and so the piece that's going to get us or help us get the capital to do what we're wanting to do involves food. And so we found that we need a shared kitchen space. And so we're here for, I'm here for just collaborations and networking and resources, if at all possible. So, yeah, that's it.
Hi, my name is Sarah Taylor. I'm the executive director of a program called Startup Moxie Elkhart County. There's a Startup Moxie St. Joe as well. We're the sister program. I work for the Elkhart Chamber of Commerce. And moving to that area and just seeing so much entrepreneurship taking off, much like my sister Kia here. Been a few things that I'd like to start as projects over what I call Coronication to make myself feel better. But nothing involving food until now. I'm interested in branching out, doing some like creative charcuterie things because there isn't one like based right here in like South Bend. In particular, there's one that's taken off in Elkhart, but along with our business, that's one of the things we're looking at, and just interested in getting resources, information, because the program I have is juniors and seniors in high school, but they actually launch their own class business in the fall, and then individual businesses, they're pitching in the spring. We have a big event in like 2 weeks. And so it'd be nice for me to know what's out there, because I did have a young lady run into a roadblock when she pivoted her business to try to serve food, but she's 16, hasn't turned 17 yet. Then like she wanted to do like coffees and lemonades, like flavor, like doing the syrups, but adding the dairy to the coffee was like, nope, exit there, because we did contact the health department in Elkhart as well. And so just learning resources, and I like to have as much information as I can to pour into them, even though they're steering their own ship. And this will help me also in being an example, like I'm not afraid to fail fast and fail forward. So
I love it.
gather the community.
I'm Stacey Hopkins. I'm the owner of Masters Construction. And I just look forward to the networking opportunities, what it's going to do for the community, bring people together, and just creating different avenues for people to connect, to bring a positive change to South Bend and the community. And hopefully I can help create it and be involved in that process.
Very good, very good. We've got some folks online who would like to introduce themselves. Oh, I'm sorry. One more person up.
Hello, everyone. My name is Kyla Henderson. I'm a young entrepreneur within South Bend. I own 2 businesses. I have Culture, which I started when I was 17. It is my vegan and natural skincare line. And then I have Creative Tutoring line, the mobile tutoring service in the South Bend, Short Range area. Also, I am here also on behalf of The Outlet, which is a nonprofit organization that helps the youth do workshops with basic needs such as laundry, cooking, cleaning, etc., but also opening them into the new world of technology like virtual.
All right. Now we have folks online. Who would like to start?
Hi, I'll start. My name is Katrina Baker. I am the founder of The Outlet. My apologies for not being able to be in person, but I do have my board member there with me as well, Kyla. As she stated before, we are a nonprofit organization that brings self-awareness to our youth by building confidence and empowerment. Through our workshops, they are pretty much typical peer-to-peer workshops where we encourage our youth to tap into their skills, into their talents by providing their, by showcasing their ability and to teach and lead their peers as well. We also focus on financial literacy, tutoring and automotive services as well for our youth. We are located currently at the I Empower Center.
Thank you. Who's next? Someone speaking.
Hello. Oh, hello. I am Latricia, and as of right now, I'm just listening and trying to absorb everything. I want to start opening up. Well, starting with selling dinners and maybe go off into catering, but it's something that I would love to do, and I'm just here to absorb all the information that I can.
Very good. Thank you for joining us. Wantonia? No? Who's next? Lucretia? Okay.
Hi, I'm sorry. I'm Wantania Dyson. I'm here in Indianapolis, and I'm just here to absorb as much information as I can to expand into opening a commercial kitchen. I have been selling baked goods here in Indianapolis at the local farmers market. And when I realized there was a need for a commercial kitchen, we do have some here, but it's not enough. I wanted to venture out into just pivot my business to not only sell baked goods, but be able to help the community and have a commercial kitchen to bring more vendors to, because it's a lot more people starting their businesses in food industry and to fill the demand that's needed in our community.
Very good. Well, thank you for being here. Lucretia?
Yes, I'm here.
You want to introduce yourself?
Oh, hi, my name is Lucretia Marsh Ward. I am the owner of Coffee and Me. I'm just here trying to listen and pay attention, get as much information as I can. Also, just more networking, seeing who's all in the building and just listening, that's all.
Well, thank you for being here.
Thank you, Mr. Summers, for inviting me.
Jasmine?
Hello, I am Jasmine Bradley, the owner of Vegan Bites by Jazz. I'm a health focused and education focused business here in South Bend.
Thank you for joining us. Rick?
Good morning, good evening, I should say. I Pastor Rick Williams. I'm currently community engagement and economic development advisor for Contain Art Community and working to convert shipping containers into homes, into retail outlets. And we're looking at the possibility and prospect of listening to your needs and possibly building or putting together a couple of model kitchens that could be possibly portable, but commercially certified. And also we're working with the team Bender, with all of the various contractors and real estate folks is focusing in on the second and first district for development. And I going to be working, I'm sure, with Dr. Summers and Pastor Hardy to see if we may be able to put the contractors and developers together to help build and help fund this either multiple or a single network of commercial kitchens to help the small starting and existing businesses.
Excellent. Okay, well, thanks everybody for being here. Again, I'm really after a fact-finding sort of a session and try to get a sense of what it is that we would really like to try to be able to do. We had, as Pastor Ward had said, we'd had some conversations, especially with David Buggs in the Nexus Center, in terms of things that we might be able to do in that space. But they're still working through some of the specifics of their business plan, and they've got to roll things out. So in the meantime, between time, there just seems to be an urgent need to be able to try to do some things. So I'm hoping that there might be some way for us to be able to put something together that at least gets people started and maybe even develops into a feeder, so that if people are just getting started, this might be a good place for them to start and then be able to step into other opportunities in the community that might be an even better fit. Most important, though, is making sure that we're doing it the right way, and that so we understand exactly what's required, that we can do some things in terms of being able to help people understand safe serve and what's involved with that, and make sure that the folks that we're bringing through are learning the proper way to be able to operate their businesses so that they can build strong, sustainable, growing businesses moving forward. So one of the things that we had been kicking around, just like I said, was having the conversations with David Buggs in particular, because he had been one of the most receptive people that I had talked to in terms of wanting to try to move forward with something. I've also had conversations with the folks over at Beacon, and they're looking at opportunities as well. And then I'm on the board over at St. Joe Hospital. And once again, some things in terms of trying to create opportunities to put safe, healthy, nutritious food out, particularly into rural areas. So for me, all of you who know me, I just think in terms of multiple revenue streams. So I was thinking in terms of, okay, you start putting your business plan together, how you gonna make money, right? And then how many different ways are there to be able to make money? And when you start taking a look at what the needs are in the community, you can get kind of imaginative and you start thinking, oh, wait a second, there's a revenue stream here that I never even considered. And there are some interesting things in terms of people who are willing to collaborate and be helpful in terms of a process. I had a really great conversation with LaSalle Grills guy, Mark McDonald. Mark turned around and was very interested, one, in what we're doing, two, sharing some of his expertise, but he also had indicated that there are times in the season where his business needs partners to collaborate with, which could wind up being yet another revenue stream for individuals and those sorts of things. So once again, I think there are some really good opportunities to be able to have some discussions and conversations. In the course of this, Pastor Blake had suggested at one particular point that maybe, excuse me, in order to be able to move things more quickly, we could do something actually here physically. So part of the conversation, one of the things that we're looking at is the possibility of taking that whole half of our resource and turning whatever amount of space is needed into a commercial kitchen that our members could actually use at whatever stage that they're doing and that sort of thing. So that was the kind of like, he shot me an email on that a few weeks ago, and I was kind of like, yeah, let's at least explore it. Let's look into this and see if this is something we could do. And so that's a big part of why I wanted to try to draw people together. Pastor Blake, can you add to that?
Yeah, well, and one of the reasons why we thought about doing it is because of Charles Martin, and if they can expand their kitchen. But one of the challenges that Charles Martin Center has is that Gladys is going to do more things than she can actually handle. And so you really would need the administrative, organization, operation, all of those pieces put together. And so if we combine with that in some sort of way, where we would expand the capacity of that kitchen by having another one over here and creating, whatever kind of pieces that would go with it. And because she can get that kitchen there, I would suppose it's pretty much close to either is a commercial or already have certifications and all of those things. So
They did have it, but I'm not sure what the status of it is.
okay, so and the location too, with the with the center here and with Charles Martin and activities that they have there, if we were to add the two together, it would create a much the capacity of actually having a kitchen with the other things that James was going to bring up as to what all is actually needed. I mean, how much space, how big a kitchen, how much storage space, and all that sort of stuff that you would need to have, and how we make sure that over here is certified, we've got ventilation, and by combining the two things together.
One location that I talked to, and this was pre-COVID, so it's probably been a while, but when Zyker first started all their thing with vested interest, they talked about doing a kitchen in there. And I don't know if there's still any interest in that or not. And I don't even know if the same people are there that I spoke with, but I mean, when she walked me through the building, that they kind of had an idea of having a kitchen. It was toward the back, and then where they could have like events. And then they were gonna do like a little shop up front. The sewing place is here, and then that little kind of U shape. They were gonna talk about having like a shop there where people could operate, like that were working inside the building. I don't know if that's really stalled because of COVID or potentially the Sibley Center.
The owners of that operation, I think there's a roaster called Reverend in that area as well. They actually just acquired the old Daily Maid building, and they're turning that into a food hall.
Right.
Yeah, so I think they're actually in space to fulfill that. Yeah. Sibley is still a work in progress, from my understanding. I haven't been updated on that. But do you all have any like food professionals who like chefs helping you all, like give you some consultation in regards to
we have a chef here.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. Yeah. So like, have you had a walkthrough? Like there has to be like a walkthrough of a GC to see if it's like attainable, because I can help too. I got 15 years in food and beverage. So I could give you guys any advice or consultation that you need or help with, and I could connect you with any other like people in the service industry that you would need help with, like drawing a blueprint or a design and whatnot. So I'm here to be a resource as well.
We need that kind of help because I don't know nothing about kitchens, commercials.
So you know that when you put a plan together, it needs to go to the state for approval.
Right.
And it's time consuming. They come back and then the county.
I'm aware of how the process
So
works.
it does take. But
You have to start.
yes, you do.
Part of what we were saying too is that with Charles Martin Center there, and it's already, while that whole side, we have the possibility of using that whole side up there for however we would design it, the commercial, and that would depend on what you're saying that would actually be. So we're looking for the kind of design, whatever is the most appropriate to do on that side. But in the meantime, we could be helping with Charles Martin Center and their kitchen and that sort of stuff, by at least providing some management, again, making sure everything is in order. And then that would give Gladys the ability to be able to have and to actually use that as a commercial kitchen as opposed to just for occasional things.
So because it had been approved previously, whether or not it's still okay, would that
It makes it a
speed up
lot
the
easier.
process?
makes it easier. The only caveat thing is that when you're talking about a commercial kitchen as opposed to a kitchen, a shared kitchen, then there are some few things that need to be in a shared kitchen because you're talking about stations or areas for individuals. So it's not just one big refrigerator, one big storage. Those individuals that are coming in need to be able to have their space and their storage area and their prep area.
Because every individual business has to have their own permit as well that accompanies it. And so I think we have to identify goals that this kitchen will accomplish in regards to volume, demographic of individuals, the topography that we'll be serving, and who actually they're building this kitchen for. One huge thing that you mentioned was administration and the organization. That takes a lot of time, effort, and energy. And finding someone to do that is going to probably be as equally challenging, but that's going to be critical too.
Now, one of the conversations that we had earlier was, again, I mentioned multiple revenue streams. Those individuals who have the training, are certified, and those sorts of things in terms of being able to be paid to manage certain times while the kitchen is operating. Now that could be an additional revenue stream for someone, but at the same time, not necessarily a full-time job.
Right.
So this would allow them to be able to incorporate into, while I'm growing and running my business, I'm also turning around and doing something in terms of helping to manage and operate that in order to be able to generate
It's going to
revenue.
be a 24-hour kitchen.
I'm thinking that that's what people will want, but that's part of what I need to hear.
Okay.
Because
I think if you want enough people in there
Yeah.
to make it worthwhile,
It
it would have to be
24 hours,
because
yeah.
people want to be able to work on their own time.
Yeah.
And, you know, like sometimes you spread out because nobody else is there, and then sometimes you have to work smaller because you have.
yeah, and that whole thing in terms of scheduling
Yes.
is I was looking at that and it's pretty much a nightmare. But
It
can be, but go ahead.
Actually,
May I share a thought?
Yeah, 1 second. Just go ahead first.
actually a very nice software out there,
Uh-huh.
company out there called the Food Corridor.
I have seen that.
Who I have been engaged with,
Okay.
and they have a really nice product that will allow scheduling with consent. So, yeah, very, very easy.
Okay. Who was that wanted to comment from?
Rick Williams.
Go ahead, Rick.
As I listen, one of the things is that I'm bouncing off, because some are bakers, they have a baking company. Some are doing regular foods and major meals or catering. Some are doing dinners or lunches, etc. A kitchen that is focused for bakery would not need some of the things that a full service kitchen might need. But they, all of them, if you have they're contained, you've got to be able to accommodate everybody. And so I was trying to get an idea again, how many of the businesses at the table are bakery focused, and how many are catering, and how many want to sit down?
They all work hand in hand.
What's the breakdown?
Not really much of a breakdown in that. Because you're gonna still need the same amount of equipment that a baker uses, a cook is gonna use, a caterer is gonna use, so there's not a lot of breakdown in there.
Well, the reason I've mentioned that, if you got a caterer, there's more volume. So the caterer is gonna wind up using that kitchen a little more intently than somebody that's doing something on the weekend. I don't know exactly how it is. All I'm saying is, don't restrict your vision or your dreams. If we want to set up a facility that'll serve bakery products, a bakery kitchen, or whatever, we can set up multiples. I just want to encourage everyone not to restrict their vision. That's all.
Well, part of it too becomes, if there is a difference, then is there a crawl, walk, run kind of staging in terms of developing this? Or does it just make sense that, I mean, and I honestly don't know. So, I mean, what kind of equipment do we really need in order to be able to set up and get going?
Yeah. And then actually, one of the biggest challenges for a lot of kitchens is the ventilation. That's like roughly between $25,000 to $50,000 just on a like basic intermediate level.
Okay.
So they're just gonna.
My fan cost me $58,000. Yes.
$58,000
Yeah.
per fan.
And then there's also grease interceptors.
And there's a
Right, yeah.
So,
So.
yeah, depending on the food and.
Right.
Refrigeration. You have to have.
Yeah.
Someone has a music on in the background or something.
And Mr. Summers, you also mentioned that
Fryers are pretty affordable though.
would try to do it here. If there wasn't a kitchen never here, and that runs into another problem then also, because you have to reconstruct everything and do that. Right? Never been a kitchen here.
So you're looking at upwards of like 200,000 to $250,000 by the time it's all said and done.
Okay. So I'm bouncing back and forth here. We've got issues in terms of ventilation, right? We've got
Equipment.
okay, and how do we, what's the best way for us to kind of identify what would be satisfactory or very good equipment at this particular stage? Just get the basics?
Yeah.
So there'll have to be a
But they have to
range.
be, commercial.
Commercial,
Great
yeah.
grade.
Uh,
I just can't go to Best Buy and exactly.
No,
Right.
Almost a year ago, I sat with Jim Summers when we were talking about this. And I took the liberty of doing the homework on looking at 4 different types of kitchen with ovens, with refrigeration, with ventilation. And I got estimates on all of that would either work in a conventional building or in a container or in a truck or what have you. So I can make that available to James.
Yeah, that would be very helpful. Thank you.
Well, I mean, I think that when all of these things, the end that we have in mind for it, whatever that end is, right? I think that's what we need to find out first. I mean, because I can tell you where we're at right now as far as this building is concerned. 0 kitchen.
Gotta talk about
Lowest hanging fruit.
Yeah, but I mean, if we know what the end in mind, do you want to serve 100 people? You want, I mean, in other words, some idea of what the vision would be ultimately. It doesn't, I mean, we might as well dream big initially. And so once we say, okay, here's what the end in mind is, but we're talking about these things. What is it that we would really want a kitchen to do? I mean, that side over there is the same size as this side, but I don't know if that's big enough.
well, first thing first is.
From the
Yeah,
front to the back, bathroom and all.
we can do everything.
Is
That's
that
what
you
we
would-
decide. That's what it's going to take.
You would pretty much have to find out what each individual business menu is like. First, you should find that out.
No, that wouldn't matter.
It has to matter because it's going to be times, just like he said about the baking part, this part, you want the right equipment in there. You can't just set up any type of equipment in a shared kitchen because it won't, I'm a certified chef.
Yes, that is true.
I know a couple of
But
operational
bakers-
shared kitchens currently that if you want to go and check them out to see how the layout looks and how they're functioning currently, I could arrange for that.
That would be helpful.
To take place.
And you're welcome to come and look at the space I just did.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
And you're doing a shared kitchen also?
I
Minutes away.
Just got it open.
Minutes away from health department.
Really? Good deal. So the people that you're renting the space to,
I'm not yet.
not yet. So how are you gonna go about it?
Make clear.
Make that clear, I'm not.
Okay.
You can ask LaShonda.
Yeah,
She's
she
been
has
there,
it.
Pam's been there.
How are you gonna go about doing that? Interviewing the people that's coming into your business?
I have interviewed a lot of people and my stumbling block is where I was gonna take you later. Is
How do you choose?
they have to come to you, serve safe, train.
Yeah.
Right.
and most people don't have that,
Don't have it.
then they haven't been to the health department.
So maybe we need to implement classes to
Yes,
teach and
exactly.
train people how to get safe serve certified.
Yes, that
Fabulous.
needs to be, you know, I had to go sit in a hotel
Mhm.
to get served safe.
I was the basement at Tippecanoe Place.
So
How long did it take?
it's just a day.
Yeah, okay, long day.
So maybe scholarships or stipends?
Right, that's my question. How can you be helpful to the community,
Yeah,
to get them started?
yeah.
And then teach them what they need from the health department.
Goodwill does it.
Cause it's about
Do that.
it's about $100 and some to get.
Yeah.
Goodwill.
Get online.
On Western, they do safe serve classes.
Nice.
I also, Lucretia Jackson, she is an instructor.
Oh,
She teaches it.
I would be happy to open my space to let her teach that.
And
Oh, with Soulful Kitchen.
yes.
Yeah.
Monique Plummer, I'm trying to get out her name, she teaches it too.
Nice.
And there are also different levels of being safe
Yes,
serve
there are.
certified.
So there's kitchen
Yes.
manager, there's food.
Different levels.
Yes.
Nice.
So
The other.
this is why this lady is so vitally important to have on your team, because she knows.
Hello.
Okay, we've got a question online. Please go ahead.
Hi, my name is Kim, and this is my husband, Chris. And we own a lemonade business. It's called Scrappy's Lemon Twist. But we were looking for a commercial kitchen also. And Mr. Cheney, Preston Cheney had wanted us to get involved in the video to check on like commercial kitchens also, because we're also for one of those too. We don't have the self-serve certificate yet, so I was listening to you guys about the class, because I would be interested in taking the self-serve class whenever you guys get it together, get it ready. I have worked in restaurants before and they have been self-serve, but I have not actually myself been self-serve. But we have a little business, a lemonade business that we are opening up now. And we're just looking for a commercial kitchen, and Preston Cheney is our business coach. And he advised us to get in on this video so we could listen about the commercial kitchens, because we're also looking for one too.
So where are you located?
We are located here in South Bend, Indiana. And our business coach is kind of looking for a commercial kitchen for us, but he said that you guys was having the Zoom call and he kind of put us in on it too, so we could listen.
Excellent. So we'll keep you posted on everything that we come up with and summarizing from this meeting and anything that's going to be going forward, okay?
Okay, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Mr. Summers,
Yep.
I'm meeting with Pastor Newsom at 7 o'clock.
Okay.
Down at airport.
Okay.
You remember when I was gonna purchase that place?
Yep.
I was gonna use that large facility to do a shared kitchen.
Uh-huh.
Well, that's what he wants to do down there also. They're spending $21,000 to renovate and to add to what's already in that kitchen.
Excellent.
So maybe you want to get with him also, because that place is pretty much ready. They
Well,
have
and
everything in there.
see, these are the things that I think we really, this is good. Because now we start to see all of the different opportunities and that sort of a thing. And again, the whole idea is to be intentional and collaborative. Let's work together for the benefit of the community overall.
Right.
I mean, because there's so much need that, you know, we don't need to be worrying about competing with one another. We need to be helping one another.
Amen.
That's why I was saying, whatever our end in mind here would be to facilitate people that are already in it, not to necessarily replace anybody.
Right.
But we wouldn't know that, like, you've got an end in mind for what you want to do. In other words, I don't know whether you've got a 1-year plan, 5-year plan, 10-year plan, 20-year plan. You know, how much end in mind do you have? And each one would have some, each one would have that. And so what we would want to do is, whatever end in mind, our end in mind would be based on what your ends in mind is, as to how we can collaborate and have something that would facilitate those those are the different things that you're doing.
Surveys.
Yes. Something like that, so that we have
to
before we
survey.
can say, we want to do this, we want to do that, we want to do this, we need to know what it is that we want to do. Yeah,
The other thing, the other thing too is that, everybody knows me, I want you to make money, okay? So I don't want people turning around, starting a business, trying to donate services when they aren't even cash flow ready yet, okay? But what I do want is to understand what it really does cost to operate and then see if there's something that we can be doing to help get access to some funding in order to be able to make that possible. So some of the businesses that we have that are trying to get going in the business, they may not be able to afford to pay for a shared commercial kitchen at this particular point in time.
Right.
But maybe there's a situation where they've gotten to a stage, they've gotten trained and that sort of thing, and now we can turn around and help them get some scholarship money in order to be able to use the kitchen to generate some revenue to get to a place where they can afford the kitchen, that sort of thing. So that's on the table as well, okay?
May I ask Carolyn a question?
Absolutely.
Insurance.
Yeah,
That's a requirement.
I was just thinking that too.
That's, you have to check with your, that's not us, well, okay. So for anyone that comes in the kitchen, I
The
need
overall
them to be.
facility has to have insurance and individuals
As
as
individual,
well.
so that's another layer of
But
cost.
commercial insurance isn't that expensive as one would think.
Yeah, well,
Like,
it's about, for the building, it's about $1,200 a year.
I've got a 5 million aggregate policy for like $90 a month. So like, that's probably something that we can, but you just have to get it in place for these individuals.
I think, LaShonda, you did it, did you do it?
Insurance, yes, I always had insurance. But some places require you to have more.
Mm-hmm.
Insurance, and it's not like Notre Dame wants you to have
a mil,
right? It's not, you don't have to pay extra money, just tell your insurance company, look, I'm doing an event here, they want it to be here.
Throw
Can
them
you
on
just
as a
change
rider.
it? Exactly, and then that's it, you're not paying no more insurance on exactly, they just change it up for you, depends on where you go. Not all event planners ask for insurance. Some do, some don't. It just all depends. You won't know until they tell you, look, you need this, this, and your insurance, and then you go from there. But insurance is not expensive at all. My policy is only $40.
Yeah,
Yes,
it's very affordable.
but it's necessary.
Yeah, so I'm like, okay.
Are there any particular companies that specialize in insurance for this?
So I use Erie for my insurance, and it was through and they're over there on Ironwood, Aldridge Insurance.
Aldridge
So
Insurance?
so they actually went and found what was most economical and obtainable and accommodated all of the needs that I had for my business. And so, I mean, every time I turn around, I have to put someone on my insurance, for every festival, every event, every store, so they're really good. I just send their lady an email, like, hey, this, that, and the other, and she sends it back to me done. And so, but it's intimidating though, as a small business, even thinking that far beyond, because, without exposure to that level of information, you think that this is something that's far beyond your reach.
Yeah.
When it's something that's just so attainable and so easy, it's just knowing how to get there to do it. Unfortunately, like some of these individuals, they need their hands held, like I needed my hand held when I first started.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm willing to, hold some hands and help.
Excellent.
Also, I wrote to BIG Insurance, which is Backstrom Insurance.
Yeah.
And he was very helpful and pretty reasonable.
Okay, thank you. Other concerns or I mean, is there, I always think in terms of crawl, walk, and then run, okay? So I've got at least 28 small businesses that are members of the center that are preparing food some way, shape, or form, okay?
He's very
I need to be very careful. I didn't say they were selling it now.
Taking donations.
But the key becomes, it's like part of our role here is to guide them and help them move along and develop and grow. But if we're doing something, are we looking to do something that's just for that person that's just barely gotten started? Or are we looking to help somebody who's been in business for a while and be able to do some things? I mean, what do you think is the most immediate need for the folks who are here?
I think the success of the facility is the first goal. And so having people in place who are somewhat established, who have an understanding of how the business functions, how operations function, cash flow, because then that will provide a decent support system for the other individuals who are coming, a type of mentorship, if you may.
Excellent. You
So
look like you're about to
you
count.
need a handful of people who are wanting to grow their business.
Right.
And help the people who want to establish.
Just get started.
That were already cash flow.
Yeah.
That's
have a cash
pertinent.
flow, that's right.
No, go ahead. Yeah.
I may be thinking too far ahead here.
That's okay.
What if someone has a food truck?
Yes,
Mhm.
good, because I have a lot of,
Or you were thinking about accommodating that?
In my mind,
Because
yes.
the food truck will have to stay here to build.
Well, in my mind, yes, from the standpoint, because St. Joe Hospital had asked me about the possibility of being able to help them with someone to be able to help with the food truck, preparation of food, those sorts of things, making sure it's appropriate so that those could go out into rural areas and that sort of thing. And we never got into the details of that, but I just know that there's a need out there for that. Okay. Were you saying that somebody was out there?
Lucretia might have something to add about that food truck.
Ah.
Because she was talking about it at one point.
Oh, I don't think she's on.
Well, she had talked about it, a food truck once before.
Yep.
And I,
to facilitate that. Organization. St. Mary's?
Yeah, St. Mary's. But I don't know if she's not there. But you said it has to stay here. You mean someplace to park?
Well, yeah, so prepare the food too.
Yeah, the kitchen where
you
Like brick and mortar.
Yeah.
You can't just.
You can't take it home and park it in your driveway.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
But it doesn't, but it can be parked at another location, a warehouse or something like that.
Yeah.
Like for the winter, yeah, like that, keep it out the cold air.
Mm-hmm. Well, what about in the evenings or that sort of a thing?
You mean?
See, what I'm hearing you say is that it would probably need to have to be parked right out here, as opposed to at the Sibley Center or someplace.
And it needs to be in a secure yard.
Yes.
Secure yard. Secure yard. That's what I was thinking about because
Vandalism is high.
I'm sorry?
Vandalism is high.
See, that's what I would expect.
Yeah, that's honestly a whole nother business model, like for a food truck, and a commissary kitchen. I think it would be like just too cumbersome to really try to run the two at the same time.
Think so?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, pretty cumbersome.
Well, what would be different? Wouldn't they be preparing the food in the shared kitchen, taking it to the food truck? They'd have their equipment there to be able to either keep it hot or do whatever else with it. Oh, no, that would be an individual business. Individual business. I would think.
Yeah, there are plumbing issues with the food truck. There needs to be the ability for them to empty their wastewater.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's why I'm
asking.
Black water.
Right, the gray water.
Yeah.
So they would need a facility where that could be done.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
The facility that they have needs to have that ability.
Gotcha.
I'd like to go back to looking at a kitchen for a moment.
Yeah, go ahead, Rick.
Has anybody seen like Top Chef or the food, the various competitors? Normally they start out with about 4 or maybe 6 cooks and then they dwindle down, but they literally have 6 different cooking stations.
Yes.
So they may have a common commissary for ingredients or vegetables and things like that, but everyone has their own cooking station. So when considering the vision for a commissary or a common kitchen, you may have to look at it in terms of multiple kitchens in one kitchen, because everybody here is doing business, and there may be a given day or in a given event where everybody or multiple people need to come in. They got an early shift to do some prep work and get their stuff out. Scheduling is going to be crazy, and so it's imperative to start thinking about that as well.
Yep.
But think about a multiplex commercial kitchen. Possibly this becomes an association of food folks, however you put it, and you have competitions. You raise, raising some funds, it becomes an attraction. A number of things can come out of this, but I just want you to be open to a multiple kitchen, and so you can deal with.
I want to ask one Tanya a question. You can.
The concept that he was referring to is called like a ghost.
Who's speaking?
If I'm not mistaken.
Sorry, James. I didn't know I was unmuted. This is Mario with MET. I apologize. I'm muting myself now.
Okay. Greg, were you finished? Rick, were you finished?
No, I thought someone was saying something, so I shut up.
Okay, go ahead.
But the bottom line is that as I think what's necessary is everyone provide Brother Summers with a profile, what your vision is. And I'm not even talking about a full business plan, but like a summary, an executive summary of your company. What do you think your audience is? What do you think you want to cook? What type of culinary resources, training you have, and get that profile together. And then those individuals who are already certified, get that pool of folks together. Find out who's at the early stages of development, who's trying to do street stuff, who's trying to do catering, who's trying to do weddings, special events. Once that begins to flow, then Jim and his team can gan it out or plan it out to scheduling, because that's going to be an issue. But I really enjoyed what someone said about, and I think the director of food services there, and that training, maybe we can arrange to get over with David Buggs at the Nexus facility and actually work with the city or county and host several weekends, just like it's a college, but it's for, if it's 28 or 30 folks who are in the food, some have it, they'll be eliminated, but folks that don't have it, go through that. We'll find sponsorship. We may be able to get some of the ARP dollars reallocated from the city or even the county to help underwrite that cost, because it was geared toward helping disenfranchised folks improve themselves. So
yeah. Other thoughts, things that I'm not thinking about. Yes.
So as a young entrepreneur representing the youth of South Bend, my question would be, how would this help the up and coming chefs of any sort? So like we have a kid about 15, 14, and he wants to be a chef. Will there be any forms of like workshops or mentorship here that will help kids who are leading into entrepreneurship, like help them elevate in a way, or would this be solely based for those who are already certified and within?
For that, one of the things is the conversation that we've had with Ivy Tech. Very willing to work with us on those things. Same thing at IUSB. So that's where I would think we want to try to bring in that kind of expertise and to work with us, and then figure out how do we facilitate helping moving along that path. And then the other part of that is giving out to individuals opportunities to be able to intern with different businesses. And in that case, finding some way that possibly we might be able to get some sponsorship money so that they can get some paid internships while they're turning around and learning some skills and at the same time helping business grow. Yep.
I was gonna tell you, someone might have typed a question in the chat. There's a one right there.
Oh,
I'm not sure if it's a question or they were telling you there.
okay.
I will say, if I could say something, I will say that from my experience being in the kitchen, the biggest problems that occurs in a commercial kitchen is scheduling and the cost. And the cost is a major factor. So you do have to consider how much you're going to start out charging each vendor to come in to prepare their food. Now, I will say this, bakers, their prep time is more so not using the equipment as much as everyone else because they're dealing with the decorating, just the whole process of baking period. So baking doesn't take it as long. So you don't have to use the stoves and everything. So you probably would want to have a separate space for that. But, and you do have to consider, so like if they're say baking cinnamon rolls, because that's what I do. A lot of that time goes into rising the dough. So you're not gonna, you need more of a prep station more so than the cooking area for that purpose. Now, and then again, you're still being billed hourly. So the cost is a major factor. And a lot of times vendors don't want to use a kitchen because of that, if they're mostly setting their prep time up versus cooking. So you have to take that in consideration. But the scheduling, because like if a baker comes in and they have that allocated time frame, if they're not really using the stove, another person can come in and use that stove, but nobody will know for that other vendor to come in because the kitchen is occupied. So you would need multiple kitchen stations for that purpose.
So multiple stations, but you were talking about some software that actually helps with that planning and that sort of a thing.
Yeah, you can actually rent just the range or the oven or
And I keep hearing stations. There are only certain amount of stations in the kitchen. You may need multiple equipment, but there are only set amounts. Fry station, salad station.
Well, that's in your traditional, that's in the traditional. It's gonna be unconventional.
I understand that, but to utilize a kitchen for a commercial kitchen, depending on what they're selling, you're still gonna need those stations. You need a prep station to wash vegetables, to wash lettuce. You need that in your kitchen.
Yeah, you need.
I'm the executive chef right now at a major restaurant here. I've been doing this over 35 years and I'm certified to do this. You have to have the 3-compartment sink for washing your vegetables, doing your vegetables, depending on what they're selling. If we don't know, if you don't know what this, and hand wash station, if you don't know what they're selling, you can't just design a commercial kitchen.
But the reality of the situation is we're only going to be able to serve so many businesses.
Right.
And even open 24/7, it's going to be, okay, so I may have to use the space in an inconvenient time.
Right. And
But
most
that's just
bakers,
the reality.
most bakers from doing hotels, baker starts off at 3:34 in the morning. It's a known thing.
Please, go ahead. Yes.
Go ahead, Ms. Gates.
Right, so it was what Mr. Williams was talking about, if you've ever seen those cooking shows. The station, because you're talking about a traditional commercial kitchen, but we're talking about, you know, a shared kitchen, so you've got a station, and in your station, you've got a range top, you've got an oven, and then down here, that station has those things also. You might have, as it was already said, a shared space where you're storing vegetables or a walk-in cooler. But each station, so when I'm working here, I have my range top, my sink, my whatever, right here in my station.
So that's
there's
multiple
not-
equipment.
that's-
Right.
yes,
Equipment.
But when you buy smaller though, it's more affordable versus the giant commercial industrial size.
But one way to save on that is you have designated stations for your baker.
Right.
Or for your caterers.
Caterers, right.
Right, so you don't need 10,
Everything,
yeah, you don't need
exactly.
Right.
10 fryers when somebody's only needing
Right,
2,
right,
yeah,
right.
so those
Someone do
stations.
something gluten-free or.
So I catch the stations, I hear what you're saying.
Else.
Yeah, but it's multiple station that's set for whatever you're doing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's unrealistic to think that you could have 6 stations with a range.
I know,
Right,
right,
It's just
so that
because
gets
it's
very
so
costly.
Yeah.
Very costly.
But you have a station for prep work,
Right.
because there's days that I can be in the kitchen and I don't use the oven.
Right.
I'm
Right.
pre-making all my dough to
Exactly.
bake
Yeah,
later.
and you need to think about mixers
Yeah.
and
Okay.
that
Yeah.
type of thing.
Right.
Starting at about 3,000.
So how are you organizing yours? How have you set up?
You mean in the kitchen?
Or yes, yeah.
So I designed it for specifically to be a teaching kitchen.
Okay.
So there's a counter, there's a 3-bay sink with a counter for maybe
An
6
island?
people, an island. Where 6 people maybe could sit around and the Shonda could teach them how to make whatever that is. So she would have an income stream
Mm-hmm.
from teaching couples how to make something and enjoy the dinner. Then I just have basic equipment and really basic storage.
Okay.
Because I am not setting up to be a storage facility. If Pam comes in my kitchen and she's baking,
Mhm.
she has to leave her flour there, so she'll have a rack to leave her things. She can't take it out and bring it back in.
Okay.
That's correct, right? Can't do that. So, yeah, so there's refrigeration. Not supposed to, right? And there's refrigerator space and freezer space, but I don't want to have to be liable for when the health department comes and looks at things that are expired. That needs to be on LaShonda, not on me.
Okay.
So.
And that's where you have your labeled shelving. that you're
Shelving,
responsible for.
Okay. Excellent.
yeah, it's a lot.
So what are we missing here? What else? I mean, I know perfectly well, there's a lot of information. There's, I like the idea of being able, of having everybody turn around and share your thoughts and share what you think your needs are. But what else do we need to be making sure that we're doing here?
I'm sorry.
Funding.
Okay.
Funding.
Yes, funding.
Funding.
Okay.
Can you realistically put a program together? Can we get money from somewhere
Mhm.
to help get this legs underneath this?
Well, yeah, and basically the idea that the way I'm looking at it is, what is it that we really need to put together, and then get a sense of what would it cost, and then we turn around and what are the opportunities in terms of seeking funding for it.
In the meanwhile, would it be prudent to offer serve safe training to people who think they want to go into the business, so they're ready and they're not surprised when it's time to.
That's actually, as of July 1st, going to be a requirement, I believe, of home-based businesses. Am I correct, by the state? Cottage rules are changing July 1st, and I believe that they're supposed to be.
That's for home-based vendor, but that's
Right.
not here. Right.
Right,
Did you
but
say you're
what
having
I'm
trouble
saying is
hearing?
some of those people who are operating out of their homes are gonna be
Yes.
required to have it, so they'll be
Yes.
one step ahead. If they're
Right.
following the
Closing
cottage
for
rules.
more, it's okay now.
If they're cottage and they are successful, they're gonna wanna move to your kitchen. just
Exactly,
right.
exactly. That's that whole crawl, walk, run. It's kind of like
Right.
identify where somebody is and help them move along a process and a path. And some people, I mean, I know from the experience I've had that you turn around and these are the steps, these are the things you need to learn, this is the work you need to do in preparation. And a number of people will fall by the wayside just in that, because it's just, I thought it was gonna be easier than that, which is fine. I mean, that's just the way it works. But go ahead.
I just had a question. Can you have a shared kitchen without it being a commercial?
When you say commercial, because we often refer individuals to, does your church have a kitchen? Commercial kitchen, but it has it will meet all of the minimum requirements that are needed to work in the area. So the term commercial, not necessary. It just has to be compliant with the minimum requirements.
I mean,
I want to just second what, I'm sorry, what's your name again from the food service?
Carolyn.
Yeah, we spoke, Carolyn, this is Rick, a while back. One of the things that's very, I think, but we got a lot of churches, big giant Catholic churches, Baptist churches, Church of God in Christ, and all of them meeting, all of them got kitchens that the city knows what they got because they had to get them approved.
Yeah,
One
but
thing,
we have to
one
agree
thing
to implement.
that we
They
might
say,
consider.
Hold on, go ahead, let him finish. Go ahead.
One thing you might consider in addition is doing doing a survey of what type of kitchens exist in addition to, most folks, they're in church and they normally cooking this fried chicken and they said, Miss Jones, why don't you go and do some catering? You ought to start a little business. So they start cooking at their house. Then the next thing, everybody knows how we get started. But I think if we can do an assessment, if everybody in this room right now is located, let's say they're located in the 2nd, 1st, and 6th district. I have no idea where you are, geographically where you are, then we can start doing a survey and finding out which churches are in your communities. And we can see if we can negotiate through Project Impact an agreement to work in those, to allow these smaller businesses to go in, and they'll be clarified and certified with the city, and we'll work out community kitchens in the churches and or other organizations who may have that.
Yeah, I think that might be a little bit of a future step.
Oh, no,
But initially, I'm trying to get a sense of, it's like,
right now,
something that we can do to get moving, and you're right, turn around and start to understand how we might collaborate with others around the community and make it possible. I've had conversations with a number of different pastors that have tried to do that, and they just found that it was a nightmare just from the standpoint of trying to implement it. But that was a nightmare because they may have needed some support in terms of helping to manage it. So, we could look at that.
The first thing, James, the first thing I think one of the ladies said, I think everyone who's in the room, just like we've been doing that entrepreneurship program across the street with Notre Dame, we should take all the businesses who are in food, the ones that are in food already, got going restaurants, large and small, and use this as a kickoff for an association of restaurants and cooks, or whatever you want to call it. But then one of the first things I think it would be wise is to learn about the culture of food by going to those classes.
Yep.
And doing an alignment, because if you can get as many people signed into that, we run it through the Project Impact, do it just like we do the entrepreneurship program, and but we'll get them all certified with the county city, and we can bring in vendors of McDonald's and other folks that talk about standards and how you make your restaurant or catering or whatever your business work. People are doing it all over the city right now in other areas. So we're just speaking of food specifically. I would suggest that as a starting point.
And Marty had emailed me a presentation that he's worked on earlier this year, and I will make that information available to everyone who wants it, so that we can just be understanding what's really going on and how we can move forward. But again, I'm really counting on everybody here and online to be able to turn around and say, here's what I'm doing, here's what I'd like to see, and then we can start thinking in terms of how we might be able to pull some things together. Yes, go ahead.
I think, just over here, and I'm a builder, to where what you said about the stations are good, to where if we collaborate as a whole and get lined out, okay, what you gonna need in a station for this, what you gonna need in a station for that, and everything it's big enough, you got a big enough mixer, you need something this size and that size, and you do that with every station. And then depending on the businesses that we got more of, to where we might have more caterers. So you set up 2 caterer stations and just one of this, one for the baker, one for that, and one for this. That'll kind of give us a good outline and a good start on how to build in the space, and it's gonna suit everybody's needs for what they need.
And this should also be somewhat modular. you know, so that everything can be calibrated or, you know, changed around from time to time, depending on the need of the vendor that's in place.
Yeah.
So wheels are.
I heard, commercial kitchen, shared kitchen, community kitchen, what other kind of kitchens do we got?
Ghost kitchen.
Ghost kitchen.
Portable kitchens.
They're kind of the same thing, but different like versions, all little minor changes. Now, what will the flow of this facility be? Now, will this be utilized simply for, you know, for catering events? Will it be a place for people to come pick up food to go, or will it be for a hub for delivery? Like, what purpose will it serve?
Great question. Got no idea. Okay. Well, yeah, that's what we need. That's it.
You just proposed something totally different, Joe. This thing just became a mega family restaurant. Nah, I don't think that's the crazy golden, the purple corral. I said, oh my goodness.
No, but you were about to say something.
Don't say it's
Hey.
a one-stop shop.
Oh, yeah.
Everything.
There you go. You think you can
Delivery.
get breakfast?
Yes. Drive through.
Questions?
One
on
of the
that?
things. Is, you know, having somewhere for people to pick up.
Yeah,
or, you
exactly.
know, that
So
ease
you're not
of,
randomly
Well,
people.
she drives her cookies all over the
Yeah,
counter.
all over.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, that's not.
So opportunity to be able to prepare food and actually.
have a
Come
place.
get
Make
it.
it go.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
Well,
what
then
you
you have
So now you're talking about putting together a
delivery jobbers.
That's a good stream of income for the youth. Like a lot of the problems we're running into, when I say like most of my friends and stuff like that, a lot of us don't want to work those 9-to-5 jobs.
Mhm.
But as entrepreneurs, we kind of need a sort of like income to help us get to where we need to go.
Yeah.
So a lot of us work, like DoorDash is a huge one that we do. I don't know, GoPuff. Some people just throw parties and events in the city to make money, things like that, just so it can go. So I think as far as if you want to push something for the youth, because, you know, in South Bend, we don't really have much to do. I think that would be something good for them. And even more safer sometimes than DoorDash. Especially as young females, that's really hard. After certain hours, we're not allowed to, you know, we shouldn't do DoorDash.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that will come in play. And I think, especially if we have it in, you know, a community area where we're, I don't know, maybe it's like a driver and another driver or something like that, but we're driving to in better spaces versus going out to Elkhart at 2 in the morning or something like that. It's more serene and more safe for us. And maybe that'll flow better. Maybe, you know, eventually like we'll, for the people who want to flow back in here, they can flow back in.
Yeah, Cougars. Okay, Marty, you had a question out there, Marty?
Yeah, just a quick comment. I spent some time down in Indianapolis at Indy's Kitchen, which is a shared kitchen in Indianapolis. One of the things I liked a lot about their facility, first of all, they had a double kitchen, which was really great. And second of all, they had a cafe associated with the kitchen that served coffee and baked goods during the day, but was also available for rent in the evening. So if you wanted to do like a pop-up restaurant night, like, hey, I make these tacos and I want to do a pop-up restaurant on Friday night, the cafe space could be rented out and then converted into a little pop-up restaurant for a Friday night or a Saturday night. And a great chance for the food entrepreneurs to test their wares out in a more public setting, which I thought was a really cool model. Very low cost way to actually, you know, get a restaurant setting up and going for your business.
Yeah. That really proves the concept. That would really work well at Charles Martin, I would think.
Yeah, we've been moving from that side on over in this side now.
We're gonna take over the place.
Yeah, there you go. Go ahead, yes.
Speaking of that side, do you have the resources to, you have a builder, but you need an architect type
Yeah.
person designed this.
Yeah.
And there's a cost that comes
I
with that.
know.
It's,
I'm having a conversation with a couple of them right now, but yeah.
it's probably gonna take some volunteers, hours.
What, no, not, I'm not talking about the building part, I'm talking
She's
about
talking about
The design.
The design.
that you have to send to the state.
Yeah.
So it's gonna have to be by a certified
Absolutely.
person.
Yeah.
Certified person
Well, he's
could
saying
be
volunteer.
volunteer
Yeah.
services.
No, I've had a couple of conversations with a couple of professional architects that would be willing to actually try to help us a little bit, yeah.
One thing I'd like to offer here is that, again, you have a parallel group that's meeting every Friday and then doing some phone calls on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, called the Bender Group. And who's in there? All of the major real estate folks and small developers, Mike King, people who are building affordable houses and things of this nature. But included in their vision is an economic development vision that would place some of your businesses in communities, so to say. And also in that group are people who have some resources and they're trying to direct those resources to support some sustainable business models. So because I'm a part of some of those other groups, I would love to touch base with Hardy and James and possibly create a linkage, because you're going to need some angels, some additional, like the young lady said, we may have to get some national dollars. I'm prepared to contact Food Network, all of those cooking stations, and see if they would be willing to come into a city that's bustling with collaborations. That's going on all around this city of South Bend right now. And if we can get an organization to come and sponsor through James and through Dr. Reverend Hardy, the opportunity to fund and pool your resources. You can get a lot done and bring a lot of resources if you're under the umbrella of the food vendor, food cooks, or whatever of St. Joe County or South Bend. And
yeah, I'd be happy to follow up with you and for us to work on that together. I appreciate that.
That's essential.
What else? Yes.
I just have, so what timeline or frame are we talking? Because I know each thing takes, steps. You've got people who are, I need it now, and it's not going to, but to be realistic, and to help with targeting the vision, we need to have some idea. So we're going to give ourselves this much time for that, yes.
Yeah.
And this much time, and our ideal goal is to have it done by this, just to put that out.
And to be honest with you, I don't know.
Oh, I wouldn't.
It'd be a
say that
simple
you
wild
right
ass
now.
guess right now, yeah.
No, but I'm just saying that that's
But
part
no,
of the things that.
You're exactly right. You're exactly right. And it's how can we eat the elephant one bite at a time? How can we basically put together the minimal requirements? Not the elephant. But the minimal requirements in order to be able to start something and then have a strategy to be able to continually build on it, just making sure that we're moving people in the right direction. I mean, we don't want to wind up doing something fast that's wrong.
Yes.
Right, and that sort of thing.
James, one of the things that's essential, but yeah, I'm sorry.
So I think another idea would be another networking event, but this time, like people who are here, people who have someone that they could bring that could contribute to this cause, have them tag that person along.
Oh, good.
So if someone
That's a great idea.
could build something, bring your architect friend in, if they introduce the idea a little bit, if they feel like there's something they want to do, and bring them on. So that way it's like, I don't really know that saying, but like one mouth to another mouth, something like that. But basically, yeah, so just allow them to do it. So like for me, I have a friend who's in school for engineering. I would bring my engineering friend over and be like, hey, look, this is the opportunity for us. So that way it's just evolving as we have each meeting. So that way it's continuous.
I appreciate that. That's a good idea. That's very good.
That's a great idea.
Way to take surveys too.
One thing that will also move things faster, who's already been in business 2 or 3 years, or more, find out where people are in terms of what they've been doing and their successes.
Yep.
Those individuals, we start moving them into the system as fast as possible. People who are just getting started up are going to take a little bit longer, but we can probably work out a way to develop those who are ready to go and are already in it and help give them additional support that they need to be more successful, and then pull the next group in, or some of this has to be done simultaneous.
Agreed.
There are some of you who are already doing it. And so how can we help you get better?
Okay, Pastor Blake, you were about to say something?
No, I think I did.
Okay.
I was talking about the elephant, you know.
Oh.
That we need to know what it is that we really are in mind somehow.
Yeah.
We talked about all these things, but, you know, I mean, when we say our end in mind, that is the CUC or the project impact, are we going to, I mean, if we're going to have something over there, what is it going to be?
Mm-hmm.
But what is it that we need? What is it that we want? You know, because I heard about 6 different kind of kitchens all of a sudden. And
Well,
I don't know none of them.
we've got a lot of terms that are tossed around, but fundamentally it's like what equipment is needed in order for people to be able to move their businesses forward. And then what are these businesses, you know, and who are the businesses, one, that are right here in the room and online, and what could be done that would help them as quickly as possible, and then how do you expand from that is the way I would start to take a look at it.
Also,
Yes.
another like question I would have is for the businesses who come in here, what would your contracts or vendor contracts look like? Because how long term would they be in? How does this allow other businesses to come in and give a try if we have, you know, the same 6 businesses for 2+ years?
Yeah, see, but that was, again, one of the ways that we really work is bringing people on, giving them the opportunity to get a start, and then connect to the other opportunities in the community. So this wouldn't be a situation where somebody comes and they stay here and this is their place forever. This would be, now I got my legs under myself, now I understand how this works, now I'm making a little bit of money so I can actually pay for some services. Now I can go out and I can graduate out and actually pay a fair wage to whatever services out there that I would actually use.
And that usually at a minimum takes like a business 2 years. Like even us, we're like 1.5 years old, and I haven't even been able to take a salary, you know, after bringing in whatever, you know. So it's gonna take some time for these businesses to get in and to get their feet wet, because it's a challenge, especially with, you know, the anticipated recession to come. That's getting ready to come fall, you know, and the Fed, you know, raising rates and whatnot. So there's a lot of different unique challenges that we're going to definitely have to weather here, and that have to be taken into consideration.
And realistically, I mean, again, here, we're only going to be able to help so many businesses, right? Mm-hmm. So there's going to be a need in order to be able to clone the idea throughout the community. Right. Yeah. Even the crawl stage of it being cloned in order to be able to help as many businesses get started, get moving. Yes, but the key becomes, let's do something, let's learn some things, right? And then turn around and get a process that helps businesses develop and grow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we know we can't build. I mean, all of this that we talked about, we'd have to still focus in on what it is that we can do and then develop a strategic plan to achieve that initially. Once we decide what that is, the lowest hanging fruit.
Yeah. Well, if it's done right, you become an incubator space where you do the business plan, you help everybody along the way so that, in that 2 years or 6 months, whatever, they move on and then somebody else comes in. So it's just a continual revolving door where you're pushing people out to their success by giving them all the tools that they need.
Yeah, there's several businesses downtown South Bend that started that way.
That kind of work and provide that kind of help. So now we can turn around and provide a model. They can turn around and refine the model, and we can have a number of these things around the community.
Yeah, because see, we're not trying to be in business for ourselves. In other words, we're trying to address, you know, the kitchen itself. I mean, the need that James has been talking about, but it's not that, well, I want to go into and start a kitchen myself. I mean, that's not necessarily what Project Impact wants to do, but to have a way that we can help facilitate that, you know. And but we can have facilities here to do it and coordinate it with Charles Martin Youth Center, because that's part of where it came from. So that's still something that we're working on. I mean, Marco that owns this building, he gave us the ability to say, okay, you can do it if you can do it. And if collaborate with Charles Martin, that sort of thing.
But you mentioned they have a kitchen over there. Is that not something that instead of like inventing the wheel over here, utilize it over there and do that as a partnership or no? I don't know.
You could do either or,
Right.
and or both and.
Well, yeah, I'm just,
Yeah,
rather than
but I mean,
spending a lot of
if they
money.
do have something there now, if they're gonna do some remodeling, whether they're gonna do expanding, because
Right,
they have what, like 6 eyes or 6, whatever you call it.
stations.
Station, no, not stations.
Oh.
Their oven and their
Oh,
stove.
gotcha, okay.
And the refrigerator, that's basically the extent of it. And they're big, they got a ventilation system already,
Mhm.
but I don't know if all of the stuff that we was talking about, you can do it.
Right.
What about all that unused office space?
Well, if they were to, that's one of the things that is, we'll look at, how do you expand that? We're looking at that. But again, what do they want to do and what is the need? Still, we've named so many things here that, it was a possibility, if they were to get if they were to expand and get new equipment and that sort of stuff, we could bring the old equipment over here, especially with doing some other things. So it's kind of up in the air, the thought and the ideas based on the whole vision and mission and purpose, goals of the Charles Martin Youth Center over the next 10, 15, 20 years. What's the long-term range, how far, all that sort of stuff. Is part of what we're thinking.
They may or may not feel that this fits into their needs.
Right.
Same thing with
Maybe they
the
don't.
Nexus Center or the Beacon Bowl and
Right.
others that have expressed a desire to help the community.
Mhm.
But maybe they don't want someone in their building 24/7.
Yes.
Right, yeah, and see, that's what I don't
Exactly.
know. That's why I'm just saying,
Yeah.
if that's, instead of having to rebuild from the ground up, when
Mhm.
you've got a facility that has it.
And one of the things here is, okay, this is a location, this is a good location for the community here. Nexus Center is out a long ways. We
Mhm.
might be able to have a much bigger facilities and do a lot more things, but it wouldn't necessarily
Be
be
as local.
as
yeah.
local,
Yeah.
so that, there's things that can be done. So but you can do both. The Nexus Center can do that. We could do this here at Nexus Center, Charles Martin, and all of the other, things could, if we collaborated correctly, with that in mind, not necessarily become competitive with one another.
Right.
But we're doing it cooperative.
So maybe you'll find out that you need to build a baker's kitchen. Maybe you'll find out that you need to build a caterer's kitchen.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Or just a prep kitchen.
Yeah.
That's what we do. That's what we are looking at. We
Right.
don't necessarily have to be chief cook, mom washer, butcher, baker.
And then we can always just go online and literally just Google, current shared kitchen space, ghost kitchens.
Oh, yeah.
To kind of give an idea, of how, what it is that we would have to implement into, the plan.
So there is a Facebook group
Uh-huh.
called NICK, NICK. It's networked on incubator kitchens,
Uh-huh.
and they have great information and very helpful people there.
Fabulous.
It's run by the food corridor.
Okay. Any other thoughts, comments, questions?
I was just online and like Joe just said, if you guys, you can go to the Food Network and ask to look at the Top Chef Kitchen, or there's different culinary kitchens that they have, and they already have layouts for multiple circumstances. But I think this has been a very healthy first stab at this, Jim. Thanks for inviting me, and Pastor Hardy, I serve at your pleasure, and this has been very rewarding.
Thank you, Rick, too, also.
What I will do is I will turn around and try to summarize what we just talked about in some kind of reasonably small, short note and send it to everyone, okay? Please
Good
make
luck.
sure that I have your contact information.
Can you send Marty's presentation? too?
Yeah, I will send Marty's presentation as well. And then that way we can turn around and at least you can let me know what I left out. It may stimulate some other ideas. Then we can make some decisions in terms of what are next steps in terms of trying to move this forward.
You have a date for a next meeting for this group?
We do not have a date for that yet, simply because I'm not gonna put a date down and I haven't done the summary yet. But I will turn around and get back to you as quickly as I possibly can.
Amen.
I'm not gonna make promises I can't keep.
Don't put yourself in the jam, for sure.
There you go. Any other questions from anybody online? The name of the Facebook group mentioned was Nick, N-I-C-K.
Okay, I'm gonna write that down.
All caps.
It's the network.
All caps.
So it's NICK?
Yes, all caps.
Network of Incubator Kitchens.
Okay,
Like
yep,
that.
I got
Like
it
that.
down.
We
So
we can steal that one, James.
the next meeting, can you guys,
I will send out information for the next meeting. It's gonna be kind of based on how quickly I can put notes together from this one, okay?
Can I throw this out just for a moment? We're getting ready to go in the summer. And
Go
I'm
ahead,
thinking,
what are you saying?
how many of you are geared up and trying to do something for the
I'm
festival?
sorry, wait a second, I can't hear. Go ahead, Rick.
How many of you are gearing up to do something for festivals and or family reunions or something you're going to be selling outside? We need to know your calendars, because if you need to get some support ASAP, we need to work with you. You don't need to go it alone, is what I'm saying. The young lady and husband is doing a lemonade. I used to own Famous Amos Cookie, fresh baked famous cookies, and I had carts all over the city of Milwaukee with juice and everything in it. And I owned a restaurant and a few other things. So I'm not just an old guy just talking. I walked it a little bit, so I'd love to be.
yeah, you remind me of our business coach, Preston Cheney.
Yeah, I know Preston.
He's really nice, and he's helped us get started with our business. We just started this last year, so we're fairly new, but we're trying to just get into a commercial kitchen so we can make our lemonade. We have we have ginger in our lemonade.
You may need a different, you don't need a full commercial kitchen. That's the food service. That's you know, you may need to do something a little bit less than a full kitchen.
Okay, yeah, we just need a place to make the lemonade and to store the lemonade, because we're making it at home, but we can't make a lot of it. And we have so many demands for the lemonade. We have an order coming up for Juneteenth for 100 bottles of the lemonade. And we're making it out of our home. I mean, we have our license and everything, but we're just trying to get into a commercial kitchen.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and break the meeting now. Thank you, everybody. If everybody, please stay in touch with one another, okay? And then we'll share information, and as soon as I have a date for our next meeting, I will get in touch with everybody, okay?
Okay.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.